And we are live. What's good, y'all? It's your man Dale Saint. Welcome. I really want to know podcast, man. How y'all feeling? Yeah, I'm back, y'all. It's been a week. I'm back. Had to take some downtime. Y'all know how I get. Sometimes I just gotta unplug for a week, not do nothing, just chill out. And boy, it was a crazy week. Not for me, but just out there in the world. It is a crazy week going on out there, y'all. Um, we're gonna talk about the whole Diddy thing, man. We're gonna talk about the Sean Combs thing, bro. We're gonna talk about uh Biden and the polls against Trump and this election thing, man, and how that's looking. And we're also gonna talk about Americans, man. Like Americans are hurting right now. And we're gonna look at a few couple videos, you know what I mean? Shout out to Breaking Point, shout out to George Gammon, the Rebel Coppers. We're gonna look at a couple videos, man. We're gonna just see if we can figure it out, y'all. We're just gonna see if we can figure it out. Let's get into it. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. Yes, get some. I know I've been gone for a week, guys. I hope you guys are okay. I hope you had a good week. And I hope this week has gotten off to a good start for you. I know for a lot of families and students out there, this is the last week of school for some of y'all. Some of y'all go until June. Sucks to be y'all. But for those who are getting out this week, hey, y'all only got a few more days left and you get to start your summer. My daughter, she's a part of that cohort. She's so excited. She can't wait to be done with school for the year and start her adventure for next year. She's excited. I'm excited for her. But yeah, man, we got to get into it, bro. The Sean Combs video came out. I'm not going to show the video. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen it. This is from back in 2016 when he assaulted big time that Cassie young lady. Boy. Like that is, I mean, as far as the court of public opinion, public could forget about it. He's done. Now, what's going to happen with the rest of this stuff? What's going to happen with, we all know about the feds are kind of on him for, possible illegal acts. Might be a RICO. There was search warrants executed on two of his homes on, one on the East Coast, one on the West Coast. That's Miami and LA. No one's been indicted. There's no arrests have come from that. I mean, it's been a while, even for the feds. It's longer than I anticipated. I thought surely by now they would have announced some sort of indictment. They would have announced some sort of arrest, which may still be coming. The feds are going to be thorough. They're thorough with just any old body. You know what I mean? Mr. John Smith, John Q. American. They're thorough with them. So you can imagine the extra steps they're going to take with someone with the resources as a Sean Combs. This guy's like a billionaire, got a lot of powerful friends. You can imagine they're going to definitely take their time on that. But this video surfaces, right? So, and it's kind of like, man, was this thing planned? Like the way this video was just kind of leaked. I wasn't surprised. Just keep it 100, guys. I wasn't surprised at all when I saw the video. We talked about this when the search warrants came out and all the allegations came out. There's certain people who just fit a certain profile, and if you add money and fame and clout and, you get that air of untouchability, like you can't touch me, I'm Teflon. They're going to act a certain way. Crazy. But anyway, we're going to talk about that. Breaking Points, Sire and Crystal talked about that today. They also talked about the Biden-Trump race and what's going on with that. So we're gonna watch two videos from there, and then we're gonna watch Brother George Gammon give his warnings as to what's going on with the American economy. He's put out a ton of information. I don't know if people are watching. I know that people in certain segments are watching, but I don't know if everyone is really paying attention. Y'all should. Y'all should. There's so much information going on. Like it is absolutely crazy out there, but people tend to be more occupied with the smoke and mirrors and the craziness going on with he said, she said, and Drake, and what, Kendrick, and all this other this puffy stuff, and they're not looking at what's affecting them every single day, which is their money, their ability to earn, and their purchasing power. So we're gonna talk about that too. It's crazy, man. So let's jump right into it, bro. This is we're gonna watch and this is from Breaking Points. It talks about the Diddy apology. I've already fast forwarded through the apology because come on now, dude ain't sorry. He ain't sorry at all. He's sorry he got caught, but he's saying, he is what it is. And also we fast forwarded through they actually showed the video. I don't want to show it. You guys have probably seen it. If you want to go see it, just type in Diddy anywhere, any search engine is going to come right up. Very, very terrible thing to see. This sort of thing does happen, and it's horrific. It is absolutely horrific, especially in this video. This is back in 2016 when she looked like she was actually trying to get away. And the thing about that, if you find yourself in a situation, ladies and some guys, you find yourself in an abusive situation, you find yourself you dealing with an individual who is doing the most. They're physically hurting you. They're bigger than you. They're stronger than you. They're scary. They may have access to weapons. They're out there with scary people. And you trying to make a move to get away, you're going to have to just leave everything behind. Don't try to pack a bag. You're going to have to play it to the hilt. And don't say you leaving. You got to play it a certain way. Don't wait on elevators. If you're in a building, use the stairs. Utilize all the resources around you. If you want to get away from an individual, if you want to get away in a situation like that, it's just best to just go. Leave all your stuff behind. Don't worry. You can buy more stuff. Take care of yourself. Don't put yourself in a situation where you're stationary, like waiting for an elevator, or you're stationary waiting on a car to pick you up. Leave. And once you get free, get law enforcement. 911. Go to where there are a lot of people around you. Go. And there was a woman here in Tampa who was abducted by a guy. She was homeless or whatever. The guy snatched her up off the street, basically, enticed her with some, hey, won't you stay with me? I could feed you this or whatever. She goes back to his house. He locks her in there. And there's video out there where she managed to get away, and she didn't bring no bags or nothing. She went straight to a gas station. She walked into the gas station. It's like, please call the police. I need help. Call the police now. And locked herself in the bathroom of the gas station. The guy who had her locked in the basement even came by the gas station trying to get to her. She wouldn't come out of that bathroom until the police, man, it had to be half a dozen police officers or more. And it took a while for them to talk her out, like, hey, we're the cops. We're here. Come on out. You're safe now. You're safe. And she finally came out, and, they went out and they arrested the guy. That's how you got to move. Take care of yourself first. Take care of yourself. Walk in somewhere. Make sure you're secure. And then you can go back and do what you got to do. Go buy some more stuff. Go get the people who are going to help you. This Cassie woman was really in a situation, y'all. She was in a situation. And then when you see this video, and this is everything that happens in this video, she talked about in her court filings. And, a lot of people are like, okay, now we see why, Sean Combs people settled that thing so fast. Not even like the next day. Like, all right, give them money. Terrible situation. But let's check this out, man. This is Breaking Points. And let's get a look at this.
It was caught completely on camera. Obviously, the hotel had possession of it. Why didn't the police do anything about it? And by the way, just conveniently, let's put this up there, please. We are now past the statute of limitations, and he can't be charged for it. So, they had this on camera at the time. There was long-time allegations here of this man's behavior. Video doesn't come out. How come the police never investigated it? Did he, report it to somebody? Did he pay somebody off, inside of there? And that it only validates, too, a lot of what Cassie has been saying.
Yes.
In her allegations.
That's right. In fact,
all of the above. Think about that. This happened allegedly this happened in LA. This is what one of the high-end hotels. Not only is there video footage of this, there were probably someone sitting there watching it happen. watching it happen. It just, even if there wasn't anyone sitting there watching it happen, at some point, this thing came to light and no one did anything. No one reported this. Like, what's up with the hotel? Like, what, because Saga was saying, well, how did they do it? Did he pay people off? Yeah, man. He paid some folks off. I'm gonna need you to bury this. You send some folks in there with a bag of money, man. Who's manning the cameras tonight? Go in there and get Billy this bag of money. We're gonna need him to bury this real quick. I know you can't delete it off the hard drive, but you can bury this thing. Don't tell nobody. Or went to the hotel owners and let it come down from the top down, which I really doubt. If you could do something like that with, like one of these real high-end hotels, I don't see that happening. But maybe if you got like head of security and you kind of use your fame a little bit and kind of talk to them, and I don't know, but that should have, law enforcement should have at a minimum been notified. Hey, we got this video of this assault. We want to show you this video. And then it boils down to, well, is there anyone pressing charges? I think a prosecutor can look at something like that and just press charges on their own, if I'm not mistaken. You got to talk to some lawyers, talk to some law folks about that. But yeah, how is it that this happened in 2016 and no one said anything to anybody? And then we wonder how someone like Sean Combs gets to a position where he believes he can commit these horrendous crimes and not have to worry about nothing. Why? Because he's been getting away with it. This is just one video that we managed to see. This is one that managed to get out. You feel me? Like, it is just think about that for a moment. If you lived in a world where even when you did something wrong, you got away with it. No one came to talk to you. You bought your way out of the situation. You bribed your way out of the situation. You bullied your way out of the situation. No matter what, over decades, everything from smacking people, putting your hands on people, punching people, kicking people, shooting at folks, blowing up stuff. Like, just imagine you getting away with this. And every time you come out, there's some, people talking about they love you, it's red carpet, this and that. They're giving you the key to the city. Think about that. This is the world that this is his bubble. It's Sean Combs' bubble. It's the bubble of some people out there like that. It's some real 1%ers out there, especially the guys over in the Middle East. Or those dudes in the Middle East, bro, the sheiks and whatnot, man, they be on one. They be on one. Brother Ted's in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you. Sister Jody, what's good? Says, how you feeling? Good to see you. I know I've been gone a while. Good to see you, sis. Yeah, I sat down for a whole week. I sat down 7 days. I ain't do nothing. I've been watching, though, but I ain't do nothing. I've just been sitting down, chilling, taking my notes, looking at stuff. And now we're back. We're back. Good to see y'all. But just, if you're someone, you're one of these people who've been getting away with doing these horrific things. You Teflon Don for real. Why wouldn't you just keep doing it? And then until finally someone catches you, right? Finally, it catches up with you. But here's the thing. And here's the thing with that, bro. Even now, is he going to beat all this stuff that's floating around out there? The possible RICO, the possible drug trafficking, human trafficking, everything, the assaults, all this stuff. Is he going to get away with it? Maybe. The only thing he's not going to get away with is the damage. There is no spin for this. There is no PR firm out there that's going to help you out. As far as the court of public opinion, Sean, Puffy, P. Diddy, Love, Combs is done. It's done. And probably rightly so. Brother Pitney in the building was good, fam. Keeper of the knowledge. The keeper of the knowledge, man. You were gone for too long. Hey, sorry about that, man. 7 days. I had to just rest my mind, bro. I had to sit back and just rest my mind. Appreciate you. You know what I mean? Brother Ted's like, see, we ended the Fade 100 podcast deal. Check out the last episode if you can. Oh, bro. All right, I'm gonna check it out, man. Damn, why'd y'all end it, fam? Why'd y'all end it? Y'all had a good thing. We'll just say y'all postponed it. Y'all just taking a hiatus. Y'all be back. Y'all be back. Sister Jody, like, Diddy done? Yeah, he done. Let's continue.
In her filing, which he he settled with her the day after
Right.
she filed her allegations against him. And a lot of people were pointing out, she described this particular horrifying incident blow by blow by blow. Coming out of the hotel, her trying to flee, him coming out, him hitting her, throwing her to the ground, kicking her, throwing glass vases at her, dragging her back into the room. But it's really important to keep in mind, this is far from all, she said, that he did to her over years, including blowing up the car of Kid Cudi, who she was involved with at the time. And we've done prior segments. There's actually a lot that is on the record about violence with regards to Diddy, things that, were public at the time that everyone just sort of ignored and moved past. But she's also not the only one who's making these sorts of allegations against Diddy. And again, we're not talking about my bad, I was going through a bad stretch one day. Not that that would be excusable anyway. We're talking about years of sociopathic violence, sexual abuse, manipulation, control, horrifying allegations over years.
Over decades. She's talking about years, over decades. I mean, wow. Is he going to take a hit to the bottom line? Yeah. Is he going to lose billionaire status? Yeah. Because it's just a lot of payouts. I could just, are they out there? Is it a race between the prosecution and the detectives and Diddy's people, Sean Combs people, to get to the folks? So it's like, hey, if Sean Combs people get there first and drop off $1 million and then the prosecutor shows up, I mean, they gonna take that million and be like, man, I don't remember. I don't recall. I don't recall is a great statement. If you're ever in front of the DA, if you ever in front of, some lawyers or whatever, and they sitting there typing every word you say, I don't recall. That's it. Like, I don't recall. Something might happen. I don't recall. Right? And you sitting there looking at your phone and that $1 million just hit the account. $1 million tax-free money done hit the accounts. They done set you up, some sort of crypto. You looking at that like, yeah, I don't recall nothing. And the Sean Combs people telling you like, yeah, we're gonna send you when this is all over, we're gonna send you another 2 million. It might be that. Diddy is done, but what is that gonna look like? Brother Pitney, like it put Diddy the diddler under the jail. Bro, I don't know, man. It's all going to boil down to the investigative side of this. When, law enforcement does all their digging, pulls all their information in there, and they're going to need human beings to sit there and point and say, that's the guy who did this. And if they don't get that, it's going to be real hard because you're fighting statutes of limitations, but they got RICO for that. So they can kind of, maneuver around that. And but as far as the public is concerned, the court of public opinion, forget about it. No one is going to work with this guy. No one's going to touch anything he's touched. No one's going to touch anybody that he said, these are my people. You got folks out there now like, damn, I got to get from up under his shadow because ain't nobody going to want to work with me. And people just going to start to scatter. So that's where I think the bulk of his net worth is going to go, paying people to keep their mouth closed, signing them documents, right? Which brings us back to NDAs. How is it an NDA is legal? The Non-Disclosure Act. You can sign an NDA and now you can't go tell on somebody for committing a crime. Really? That's crazy. That is crazy. We're going to see how this plays out. We're going to see how this plays out, sis. For real. Let's get back to it.
And so when you see this video come out, and like I said, it matches detail for detail exactly what Cassie said happened, gives a lot of credence to everything else that everyone's been saying has been going on with him. This also, as you know, federal agents raided 2 of his properties. I also would be remiss if I didn't note the tropical appearing background in his video.
Same thing, yeah.
Many people wondering if he has already fled to some non-extraditable location. Big question marks there.
I mean, in his apology video, you could tell like that bro is somewhere tropical, probably sitting right next to Russell Simmons. Russell Simmons bounced as soon as Me Too hit. Base Oracle's in the building. What's good, fam? He's back. You had to sit down for a week, bro. I had to sit down. I sat down for a week, or maybe I went on that one last mission. Who knows? I'm just kidding. I ain't do nothing. I've been sitting back watching. Base, I've been watching. I've been seeing what y'all been doing, bro. I've been watching. I'm just quiet, just sitting there taking it all in. No Diddy. It's like Diddy not tropical. It's fruity. Hey, bro, it's crazy, man. Like it's man, look, it is crazy, man. It is crazy. Yeah, bro. I don't know how this is gonna play. Brother Pablo's in the building. What's good, brother? How you feeling? Yes, I'm back. Man, I took a week to sit down, get my head right, man. This is something to just real quick, just before we get back to what's going on here with Diddy and all that. Hey, people, it's very important that y'all sit down sometimes. If you're not feeling right, if your head ain't right, take a moment, sit down. Just go ahead and sit down. Relax. Chill out. Don't go out there and engage in this word if your head ain't right. I've done that, and it's cost me dearly. Dearly. So your head ain't right. If things aren't going the way you need them to go, sit down. You know what I mean? Just chill out. Sit on the bench, let everybody else play. Keep your eye on the game now. Stay in the game, keep your head in the game. But just relax. Don't go out, because that's when we make major mistakes. We go out there, our head ain't right. That's when we make major mistakes. The kind of mistakes where you might need a lawyer. You might be sitting next to Sean Combs. Kind of mistakes if your head ain't right. So make sure you keep your head right. Yeah, zesty. That's crazy. Base, man, where do y'all be getting this information from? I don't know about that. Bro, I don't know about that. Where y'all be getting this information from, man? But let's continue.
For her part, Cassie has issued a statement. We can put this up on the screen from Rolling Stone. Lawyer for Cassie said in a statement following this quote-unquote apology video that he was only compelled to apologize once his repeated denials were proven false, shows his pathetic desperation, and no one will be swayed by his disingenuous words. And I think that's very well said, because up until this point, up until it was totally undeniable, he was denying it. He was claiming none of this happened. But the fact that Cassie was the first one to make these allegations, really opened the floodgates, and now you clearly have federal scrutiny. So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, the big question is why did it take so long? And this gets back to the cover-up of what happened inside of LAPD, what strings were pulled, were the feds involved? I mean, that's some of the bigger allegations here, is that basically there was some deal or something going on where he was effectively protected from something like, imagine if any normal person did that in a public hotel room.
How we see this with I mean, how many Harvey Weinstein, all these people that, because they're wealthy and famous and powerful, they got away. Bill Cosby got away with it for years and years and years. And then you also ask yourself, there were rumors of this sort of thing with Diddy going around for a while.
20 years, yeah.
How many people knew? How many were in his circle and saw this behavior and did nothing and said nothing and directly enabled it? How many people?
We'll see, hopefully.
And that's the thing right there, bro. Can you see what money does to folks? How many people knew about this? I mean, when you look at Hollywood and you look at the music business, there are no secrets, bro. They're the worst kept secrets on the planet, man. Everybody knows what's going on. The Harvey Weinstein thing, everyone knew what was going on. If you was in the business, you knew. Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Man, I was in LA. My first few years in LA, man, I was in LA less than 5 years. I'm seeing Jada all over the place, man. I'm seeing her at Little Buddha. I'm seeing her at Buddha. I'm seeing her up on Sunset, bro. I'm seeing her at all the little spots, man, with her little crew. Everyone knew. It was no secret. I wasn't even in the business. That's before I did comedy. Everyone knew. You see it right there. With what's his name? Andy Dick. Something wrong with that dude. Everyone knew when he was riding, when he was on top, when he was A-listing, man, he was getting away with so much craziness, man. It was insane. The dude from Austin Powers, the little guy, the little person, the mini me guy, out there in Hollywood on Sunset, Hollywood Boulevard, everywhere, just wreaking havoc, bro. And then their status goes away, their fame goes away, and they wind up locked up in rehab, homeless. But everybody knows when Me Too hit and it somehow jumped over the music business, come on, man. What Harvey Weinstein did was horrific. But compared to what was going on in them studios, compared to what was going on in the music business, man, he was a Boy Scout compared to what they was doing over there. How did Me Too miss that? You know what I mean? Brother Bass is like, yo, I can send you the link. Hey, man, I'm going to drop the link on this one, Bass. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm back, bro. Like, it is crazy, Brother Pablo. Yeah, she got a lot of money, man. She got tens of millions of dollars for this. But is it worth it? I mean, what she went through, the whole freak off thing. When you look at something like this and you see this video from 2016, now it's like, bro, I don't think she was lying about nothing. I never really thought she was exaggerating to begin with. But now, when you see it, like old girl said, like Crystal said, it was blow for blow. Right? It was blow for blow. Like, this is exactly what happened. Yeah, and Brother Pablo, what I mean by that is compared to what is going on in the record business, people, especially the hip hop side, the R&B, hip hop, even though the rock and roll, the pop, all that, man, compared to what's going on in the music business, what Harvey Weinstein was doing, yeah, he's like a Boy Scout. Think about it. You think that Sean Combs was the only one? Think about the allegations leveled against him. It was him and other record executives. It was him and other powerful people involved. That Jaguar Wright chick, what's she talking about? Think about it. What Harvey Weinstein was doing compared to what they were doing in the music business, and still doing in the music business today, by the way. It's still going on right now. Still going on. Right? Just think about it, bro. It's crazy. It's just to show you how, man, I've been in my share of studios, mixing music down, sitting around, whatever it is. Again, there's always good people. There's always going to just be professionals doing their job. But man, I'm telling you, when the grown-ups are out the room, it gets crazy. It gets crazy. To this day, it was one dude. He's probably dead by now because he's very, very old. But this guy was, I had to put my hands on the dude because he wouldn't stop. I had to put my hands on it, like, bro. And they what they do is they'll hold that position over you, like, well, you really want this. This is your dream, right? It's before I got into the FAA, man. It's before I became an air traffic controller. This is like one of my many hustles. This is when I was back on the block back then. I'm doing this. I'm messing around in the music business. I'm messing around in politics. I'm over here in the streets. And this guy, man, I'm telling you, bro, they fired me from the label, All Net Records. Shout out to All Net Records. They had to let me go. Why? Because I had to put my hands on dude. I had to put my hands on him because he wouldn't stop. And I'm just like, dude, this is a guy coming after a guy. I can only imagine what these women were dealing with. And I'm here to tell you, at the end of the day, when you stand up for yourself, ain't nobody around you gonna stand up with you. Especially if you in Hollywood or you in the music business. Everybody else, they want to be there because they chasing the dream. They realize, and it's funny too, you grab somebody, man, and you start squeezing and they having a hard time breathing, and you see in their eyes that they realize that you ain't dream chasing, you just out here trying to make a buck. Then you see it. Uh-oh, they made a mistake. Like, uh-oh. But hey, it is what it is. How far you want to take it? The music business is far worse than what's going on in Hollywood. I done seen both from the inside. I done seen both. The music business, far worse than what's going on in Hollywood, man. Far worse. Just to give you, yeah, bro, Brother Pablo, I'm here to tell you, man, the stuff is just unimaginable. So now when you read about it, the freak offs, you read about what's going on. You look at Tony Rock was on My Expert Opinion talking about how he been to a handful of, people, maybe a couple, 2 or 3 Diddy parties, but he wasn't allowed in the house. They had to stay outside in the pool with everybody else. Couldn't go in. Right? Why? Because they knew, like, nah, he ain't playing like that. Leave him outside. But them parties be off the chain. I never been to one. I never been to a Diddy party. I've been to plenty of parties in the Hollywood Hills, but I ain't never been to a Diddy party. Right? And I just, bro, when I hear these stories and I see this stuff, like, of course that's what's going on, bro. Of course. It's crazy.
That we will actually find out. Okay, thank you guys so much for watching. We're gonna have a great show for everybody tomorrow. As a reminder to all of our premium subscribers in our move over to locals, if you have any issues with your subscription or any questions about features, etc., support@locals.com. They will get it to you. Overall, though, we're really excited by the response. We appreciate and we love you, and big things that are coming in the future still. We'll see you later.
Hey guys, if you like that video,
shout out to them. Shout out to Breaking Points, guys. I've never joined anyone's locals, but I mean, if you got a couple dollars, I know times are hard, and this next story is going to talk about tough times. But if you got a couple extra dollars and you want to support, you know, some real good media, like they're bringing it to you, and you can tell, even when they don't agree with what they're reporting on or who they're reporting on, they focus on just bringing you the facts. I really like what they're doing at Breaking Points, even though like they fight themselves, like, and sometimes they can't help themselves. They want to add in their personal opinion on whatever take, especially Gaza with Crystal. You know, she has her big thing on Gaza, and then there's people like me is like, man, here's what it is. You know, Hamas shouldn't deal with what they did. They're gonna have to deal with it. And Palestinian people, they're gonna have to deal with it. People don't like when you say that. They just don't like it. I'm just like, hey, man, Israel wouldn't be doing what they were doing. When Israel would not be doing what they're doing right now if Hamas had an attack the way that they did. What was that, October 7th or whatever that is? But then, it turns into, the history and blah, blah, blah. I get all that. I get all that. But I'm just letting you know, man, it was all good until they came over and did what they did. And now people don't like the response. But again, when they report on that, I mean, like that, Crystal takes that to heart. She doesn't, she has a hard time, containing her emotions when it comes to that particular topic. But they do a really good job of just bringing you the news, like just the facts, ma'am. They do a really good job. Shout out to them over there. Breaking Points. Brother Pablo was like, does the manosphere come into play at these Hollywood parties? No. Come into play? Nah. Dudes in the manosphere, bro, like no, not even close. You have guys, if you're at one of these Hollywood parties, bro, or if you up there in the Bay somewhere, in Silicon Valley somewhere, and you're dealing with the 1%ers and you're going to one of their events, you're somebody, bro. You're not an invisible guy. I've never seen an invisible guy at one of these events ever. Maybe if somebody working behind a bar, and a lot of these houses have like straight up bars in there with bar backs and bartenders and like craziness, right? Like you just seen these houses were built for parties. So you might have a guy in there who knows someone, but even those, it's a different world. So like, no, the manosphere, I've never seen the manosphere at one of these type parties, right? Everyone in there is like players and hustlers, you know what I mean? Cool kids, people who know, people in the know, people with the crew. Even if you were in somebody's crew and you're like an invisible guy, but you're just somebody's buddy from back home, they wouldn't bring you to the Hollywood Hills party. They won't bring you to that party. They're not going to bring you to the red carpet event because they know you're going to mess something up. And no one wants to get, marked like the blacklist mark because you brought some knucklehead to the spot. You don't want, if you that dude, your dude comes in there and acts up and does something wrong, man, they'll never let you come to any other parties, man, because that's a very, 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 very small, group. The cool kids ain't playing. So manosphere stuff, nah. Keep in mind, I didn't even know that manosphere existed until 2 years ago, bro. Right before I started this, man. I didn't know, 2020. So I guess almost 4 years ago now. I didn't know that this world existed. But it makes sense to me, right? Once you get into it, you see like, oh yeah, it makes sense to me. But I never knew it existed. So we're going to get into, let's talk about a little bit about money, guys. A little bit about money, man. So George Gammon, well, actually, we're going to continue with Breaking Points. And this is this net worth chart is why Trump is winning. We're going to talk a little bit about politics here. Which I know we're just going to be shifting gears because I just came back. I'm definitely going to drop the link as well. If anybody wants to come up and chit chat, I'm going to drop the link here after the George Gammon video. But right now, all the polls have Donald Trump in front. A lot of the polls in a lot of states, like the battleground states, have Donald Trump in front and outside of the margin of error, which is crazy. Which is crazy. So I didn't think it would jump off like this, but I'm just not a Trump guy. So I haven't really been following what's going on with this election. Just, I take a peek here, a peek there. But Breaking Points has a clip out there on a quick segment. They were talking about this. And I'm like, this is something we need to watch, man. Because at the end of the day, people do vote their pocketbooks, right? When it comes to politics. man, they'll pinch their nose and whatever and vote for whoever they think is going to be better for them and their family at the bottom line. You know what I mean? Last good man, Jersey in the building. What's good, fam? So let's check this out.
Really hits home in the context of how, let's move over to that economic stuff, because this really hits home in the context of how subservient our country is to foreign interests. Let's put this up there on the screen just so everybody can fully understand here. American consumer sentiment is now at a 6-month low. People are pulling back, quote, on all kinds of purchases. This is the biggest drop since 2021, quote, reflecting the persistent tug of inflation on household budgets, feeling fears of rising prices, unemployment, and interest rates that will all worsen in the coming months. Already, spending habits are rapidly altering. They say that McDonald's, Home Depot, Under Armour, and Starbucks are all reporting disappointing earnings. People are cutting back on fast food, kitchen renovations, sneakers, afternoon lattes, basically anything which is a sign of that times are decent right now. Retail sales flat from April after there was limited amount of pickup in February and March. Walmart is reporting its strongest quarter this week, which is being nudged by high-income shoppers whose income is reducing. Shopping at Walmart is recession-proof for a reason, and when they're booming, it's not necessarily a good thing for all of us. Meanwhile, gas prices are back up. We were looking, remember, at Nevada and California. California still somehow is at $5.50 a gallon average in the entire state. It's insane. I don't even know how people live there. And then, you continue to look through all of this, and the consumer spending, which is 2/3 of our U.S. economy, reducing by even a single percentage point is millions, and millions of jobs are affected, billions, hundreds of billions of dollars in commerce. And all of this is happening ahead of the U.S. election. Things are actually getting worse. We're also in a very interesting time, Crystal, where we can compare directly the records of two successive presidents and actually vote based on those two. Now, look, I will be the first to say the economy is very complicated. The president doesn't necessarily run everything, but people in general tend to get credit for it, and they tend to get credit for what the message is about, what they seem to be aligned with in terms of what they may do for you or others. And I think with Biden right now, like any economic message has long been, basically consumed by foreign affairs, neither of which are going very well abroad.
Yeah. So
if you're president of the United States, if you're the incumbent president going into an election, a midterm election, not a midterm, but like your re-election, if Americans believe and they feel confident with the economy, they believe they're making good money, they believe their purchasing power is up, or at least where it needs to be, they can, they can take vacations, they can go out and watch a movie, they can afford to take the kids out for a Happy Meal. If that's the case, here in America, if the American voter is in a good place financially, they could care less what's going on in the rest of the world. They care less what's going on in Ukraine. They care less what's going on in Gaza. They can care less what's going on Taiwan. You name it. They don't care. Iran, they care less because they got money. If the reverse is true, if they're not making any money and the rest of the world is perfect, let's say America has brought peace to the entire planet, but Americans are broke. They can't afford to do any of those things I just mentioned, right? They're going to get rid of the incumbent president. If everything is good, they're going to keep the incumbent president. That's just how it works. That's just how it works. Don't care who it is. Don't care what party they're with. America, almost every American is going to vote their pocketbook. Hands down, period. That's just how it works. It is what it is. So Joe Biden has a problem. Joe Biden has a problem. It's like $10 for a Happy Meal at McDonald's, right? Everybody's been talking about fast food and the costs associated with fast food. Like if you go to McDonald's and get, like I talked about this a couple weeks ago, right? Before I went black for a week, before I went dark, right? My daughter wanted some chicken nuggets, and I'm like, all right, we'll just go to McDonald's real quick. Go to McDonald's, get her order the chicken nugget meal with the Sprite. It was a medium, and I got the 2 cheeseburger meal with the soda. It was medium, and it was over $20, like $25, I think it was, something like that. Wow. Right? Wow. Like what the, like it's crazy. If you get a Big Mac meal, that's like $15 by itself, I think. Maybe a little bit more, depending on where you are. Gas, here in Central Florida, like for premium gas, you're looking at around, like, it was at one point, it was like $4.20, something like that, 25 cents, which is a lot for Central Florida. Last time I filled up, it was under $4 for premium. Hey, LA for regular is $5.30, $5.50, depending on where you go. And California, straight up, is any California, period. Like, can you imagine that? The groceries, went to the grocery store today, got 7 items from the grocery store, got 7 items, got some frozen stuff, got some bread. What else did I get? Got like some waffles, like, some, Eggo, whatever, the little waffles you put in the toaster. I got 7 items, man. It was $35. Got 7 items. I got like a frozen pizza. Like, my daughter loves this CPK frozen pizza you can buy at the grocery store. That was $7. I think it's cheaper to go to CPK and get the pizza there. It was $7. So, and Americans are in debt, and they're gonna talk about this. So Joe Biden is presiding over an economy that is really, really bad for the average American. They just don't have the money. It's not there. Trump, on the other hand, when he was in with all the stimmy stuff and all that, Americans have money in their pocket, even though it was bad. When you look at the long-term thing, in our final video, we're going to talk about that a little bit. We're going to be talking about, inflation and all that kind of stuff and why, shout out to George Gammon. But down the road, it's going to be a problem for sure. But short term, you got money in your pocket. You can run out, buy yourself some Louis stuff. You go out and buy yourself some, some red bottoms. Go out, buy yourself a car because you had, getting all kind of stimmy money. That was under Trump. Biden came in and did the same stuff. He had stimmy money up front, but then he had to deal with some issues and dealing with the long-term effects of printing all that money. Brother Pablo, he's like, I think Democratic Party wants Biden gone. Well, the leaders of the Democratic Party doesn't. They're doing everything they can to protect him. They should have let people go. They should have told him, no, you're not going to run for another term. You're not here for that. You beat Trump. You did your job. It's time for you to go. But they didn't. They backed him. They strong-armed everyone to get behind him. And now look at what they're dealing with. If the election were tomorrow, Trump would probably win. But, and like I said, he's outside. And a lot of the battle states, he's outside of the margin of error. He's winning in states that Democrats normally win. So, yeah, the Dems got a problem. You're right. If we're in a recession, an incumbent will not win. If it's tough times, the incumbent will not win. This is why all the politicians don't want to talk about recession. And remember that. Keep that in mind. They don't want to talk about recessions. They don't want to talk about interest rates. And that's going to be important for the last video today. So keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. Yeah, man. I'm cool with those Eggos. There's a Target grocery. So you go to the Super Target. I normally go there, and they have discounted waffles that are cheaper than the brand name, and they taste better. They taste better, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. It's like half the price, and they taste better. I don't know if you want to hit a Target out there. This is an unpaid promotion for there. It's the Target brand, generic brand waffle, but it's like half the price of the Eggos, and man, they taste way better.
Next piece up on the screen. Sagar, I want you to explain this too, because you found this. And listen, here's the thing. We have been gaslit by the Biden people and many media figures into thinking that Americans just don't understand how good they got it under Joe Biden. Look at the low unemployment rate. Look at the high stock market, blah, blah, blah. This chart right here really blows up all of those narratives about how great and amazing the economy is and how ungrateful we are to the Biden administration for creating this, this incredible euphoric state.
So let's keep this up, please, while I explain. So we have change in household net worth since the start of presidency. We have it in nominal and then adjusted for inflation. So nominally, 48 months into the Trump administration, Americans' net worth was up by about 40%. Now, under the Biden administration, this would be consistent with Bidenomics. They would say 36 months into our presidency, American net worth is nominally up 20%. So you have more money, right? You should be happy. No. look at the graph right next to it for those who are watching. When you adjust for inflation, 48 months into the Trump administration, American net worth adjusted for inflation was up by 20 or about 30%. If you adjust for inflation and you look at the Biden administration, American net worth is up by 0.7% from the baseline of when he took office in January of 2021. And in fact, a significant portion of the Biden presidency has seen a reduction in net worth when you have been adjusted for inflation. Now, tying it back to what I was talking about, what happened right there 12 to 18 months when we began to see the dip crystal? That was the Afghanistan and the invasion of Ukraine. So the invasion of Ukraine some 2 years ago is exactly what tanked the entire US economy, and which all of us had to pay a higher tax and gas prices and reduction in net worth from, in addition to the geopolitical instability that was unleashed. In addition, you've seen a slight dip there several months ago where what happened? Israel, the Red Sea, where we all again paid the Israel tax in the Red Sea with the Houthis. So we've had 2 successive foreign conflicts in addition to massive inflation, which happened for a variety of reasons, and just a general drift of the Biden administration where 0.7% increase from where you were compared to a 30% increase adjusted for inflation. That is the first time, too, that you really have inflation hit you in the face, where nominally you're up by almost 20%, but inflation adjusted basically made nothing.
Water.
You're trying.
And this is the problem that the current president, the current administration has. The numbers are the numbers, bro. Trust me, they're trying to find whatever numbers they can to spend it wherever way they can spend it. But at the end of the day, the average American is hurting. It's hurting. How did the average American deal with this inflation hit? This inflationary thing that hit their pocketbooks. They put it on credit cards, bro. And this is why the American debt is highest as ever been in the history of America, if I'm not mistaken, right? So you look at the debt and then you look at defaults. Not only are Americans like your purchasing power is down, you know everything costs more, and then when you adjust for inflation, you're making less. You got less. This is why they're looking at, well, it wasn't that long ago when Trump was in office, and I can remember that's when we had all his money. That's when we were going out. We were lit. We were popping bottles. We were taking trips. Like we were waiting in line to get to the whatever Louis Vuitton store thing. I'm trying to see like what's because y'all can tell I don't go there. But they're waiting in line to buy something out of a Louis Vuitton store, whereas now they can't afford to put gas in the car. They need a credit card for that. They can't afford to buy groceries. They need a credit card for that. They can't even afford to take the kids to get cheap, fast food, because fast food is more expensive now. So it's like, okay, we gotta stay home and cook more. And then all of your utility costs go up. Your gas bill goes up. Your electric bill goes up because you're home more. And there's no escaping it. And you're just putting it on credit. So you're going out there like, well, let me get another credit card. Banks ain't lending. Right. All this is going on during Biden's watch. So people are like, no, I don't want any more of this. Let's try the other guy. That's what's going on here. Will the Trump administration be able to roll in and turn everything around? I don't think so. I really don't. I think the pain is here. Banks aren't loaning. There's no more stimmy money. People are thinking like, oh, it's going to be some bailouts. No, it's not. That NYCB bank that we were talking about when Republic first went under, that NYCB bank, I've been keeping my eye on that, where George Soros and friends had to come in and bail them out. You had to get George Soros and a group of billionaires to come in and kick in $1 billion to this bank to turn the bank around. And the bank is still struggling. I think we're going to talk about that later on in this week, probably tomorrow. That bank is still struggling. I'm still looking at it. They had to get some help from, I think it was Chase. I think JP Morgan Chase had to come in and buy off a bunch of their bad debt. And the outcome is still not. It's still unknown. They don't know what's going to happen. The pain is coming. This is just the beginning. So whoever comes in next, Trump or RFK Jr. or whoever you want, whatever administration comes in, they're just going to have to manage the pain. There's no easy way out. They're not going to be able to come in and just say, hey, we're about to do some stimulus. No, there's no more money. The Treasury is not going to let you do it. And yes, Jerome Powell is going to continue to raise interest rates. Why not? The pain is here. Let's just get through it. That's what I think is going to happen. But hey, what do I know? You know what I mean? What do I know? Let's continue.
Spreading nothing in 3 years. You have made no money. That is horrible. Now, look, I understand it's a short period of time, etc., but it's a 4-year, we vote in 4-year incidents or 4-year increments, and it is undeniable to compare those two records. I'd also be remiss if I didn't point out all those COVID gains that happened there,
right?
And how people really benefited.
Well, I want to dig in on that. Put the back up on the screen, because that is actually probably the most consequential part of this graph. Is right when you see that huge spike in net worth. Guess what? That was when you had checks going out. Child tax credit was maybe the most significant of the COVID era programs. You had the quote unquote super dole, where people were getting extra cash on unemployment. You had the PPP loans going out. I mean, you had an extraordinary expansion of the social safety net to cope with COVID. And guess what? It worked. It worked. It really helped people a lot. And something I've been talking about this whole time is one of the economic stories of the Biden administration is the continued rolling back of those social safety net programs. So you had this expansion that really helped people, really increase their net worth. We saw it in terms of bank account sizes, ballooning, and the way that that got spent down the minute they start rolling back those programs. Even something like the child tax credit, where the thought was that this was going to be a long-term program. Ultimately, Democrats didn't really expend a lot of political capital to try to keep that going, and Republicans weren't interested in trying to keep it going. So you have all of that rolled back at the same time that you have elevated inflation, significant inflation, which came from, I think the foreign conflicts, that's part of it. We also have more and more indications that a significant, if not a majority chunk of it, was also corporate greed and price gouging. And so, from both a reality and from a political perspective, a much better approach from the Biden administration would be to talk about that. Talk about the fact that we just learned these oil companies were colluding in cartel-like fashion to price gouge American consumers and rip them off to the tune of thousands of dollars per family. That gas inflation, the increase in the gas cost, that trickles through, as you guys know, that has an impact throughout the economy. It's a huge impact to the bottom line of American households. So tell that story, and more importantly, do something about it. Do something about the price gouging and the greedflation. And, obviously the ship sailed in terms of the expansion of the social safety net and trying to, keep some of those gains and continue to build from there. But what this tells you is that people are not crazy. They are right to feel like things are not going as well for me as they once were. And so then when you see the approval ratings on the economy and all these Biden flags out there, like, I don't know what you're talking about, it's amazing, and you guys just don't understand, or maybe the media is too negative about Joe Biden or whatever. No, people know what is happening in their own lives and could have told you previously without needing this chart what that has looked like for them and their bank accounts specifically.
Yeah, exactly.
And there it is right there. Sit there and tell folks, you can't Jedi mind trick the entire country, bro. They know when they can't pay for stuff. They know, like, I can't afford to pay this credit card. I can't afford to pay for this car. Defaults are up like crazy across the board. They're like, people are sitting there, okay, well, what can we pay for? Can we pay for our rent? Can we pay for our mortgage? I mean, how can we pay for food? This is what they're looking at. Brother Cody's king in the building. What's good, fam? Control collapse. The big fish are going to buy up all the small ones for pennies. Yes. There's going to be so many deals out there. Yes. There's blood in the streets, bro. And this is just the beginning. We haven't even gotten into the hard stuff yet. We haven't gotten into it. The commercial real estate collapse. It's here. It's here. We haven't gotten into it yet. So it is definitely going to be, if you got money, oh my God. Patrick Bet Davis says this all the time. He's like, man, this is the era where you can add, if you make the right moves, you can add a zero to your net worth. And that goes all the way up the chain. People are going to make millions. Some may even make billions. This is just how it's going to go. At the end of the day, who gets hurt is the people at the bottom. That's the people who always get hurt. Absolutely. Can you say depression? We might hit it. we might hit it. It's gonna be painful. And people are sitting around here waiting for bailouts. They're gonna be waiting for stimmy checks. They're gonna be waiting. I don't think it's gonna be any checks. They may try to come up with some sort of program, some sort of government-backed debt buyout or something, but I don't think they're gonna just be sending checks to you. I don't know. I don't know. The reason we're here, the reason inflation is so high is because of all of the money that's been printed and all that stuff. They did just, and right now they could give you more money, but it doesn't really matter because the purchasing power isn't there. They can give you more money. Oh, we're gonna give you more money. All right, fine. That money is not gonna spend like you think it's gonna spend. And I want to do this last one. George Gammon, again, shout out to Breaking Point, shout out to George Gammon, the rebel capitalist. Yeah, I need to check him out. This brother is really on it, man. He's trying to warn people. He's been trying to warn people. He's been talking about what's going on right now. He's been talking about on his platform for over a year and a half, 2 years. Everything that, especially the commercial real estate bubble bursting thing. First time I ever heard of it was on his platform. He did matter of fact, I'm gonna go find that video and I'm gonna react to it because the video was like a couple years old and he broke it all the way down. This is how it's gonna work. He was talking about LA. He just happened to use LA. He was like, oh, this is how it's gonna work. This is the amount of money that they got to finance for this building. This is where they finance it at. And this is where they're gonna have to finance it under these new rates. And this is what's gonna happen. And everything he said in that video is what's going on right now today. Right now. This is what's going on right now today. Definitely top notch. And as far, I mean, they keep coming back to the taxpayer. They man, I don't know. I don't know. I think that NYCB Bank, I think that shows that the government let the 1% know we're not bailing anybody out. We're not going to bail out these regional banks. And I believe that's why Soros went and put together a team of people and they raised $1 billion. Would it be $1 billion and gave it to the bank to try to turn the bank around? And it may not be enough. I think that is what's going on here. But let's check out Brother George Gammon.
Hello, fellow Robo Capitalists. Hope you're well. So we've got an aggregate total of America's top CEOs and what they are saying right now as we speak about the American economy. And I think you guys are going to be surprised by a lot of what is being said. Now, before we get into what these CEOs are saying, let's go right over to the Atlanta Fed, because this kind of sets up the conversation that we're going to have throughout this entire video and some of the conclusions that I have drawn. You can come to your own conclusions. You can take my ideas for what they're worth. They're free, so that tells you probably how good they are. All right, let's go over to the Atlanta Fed. And this is a chart that I've pointed out very, very often on my videos over the last probably couple of years now, really. And it's the wage growth tracker by age, because we always hear about nominal wages going up. And then we'll sit there and say, or the mainstream media will say, well, nominal wages, if you look at them, they might not have kept pace with consumer price inflation, but they're really close. So the overall purchasing power for the consumer really hasn't gone down. And there's some years where the nominal wage growth has actually exceeded the CPI, and therefore they're getting rich, right? But this doesn't tell the whole story. This is an incomplete picture, to say the least. So when we look at the wage growth by age, this tells a much, much different story. Look at this green line.
So he's about to get into how much money has been made by age group, and the group has been making the most money is like the 16 to 24. I'm trying to get it a little sharper there, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just
love fellow Robo Capitalists. Hope you're
there. We go. But he breaks it down by age using his chart. And who has all the money? Well, the young kids. They're not paying a mortgage. They're not paying rent. Most of them aren't paying car notes. They're not paying insurance, right? They're Ubering everywhere, and they're spending their money in ways that generations before them never really did. Right? The generations before them like saved their money or did whatever, but these kids, they just want experiences. So because they were making this money, they were driving the economy. So again, I thought this was brilliant for him to break it down this way. Let's continue.
Going up, going up, going up, going up. And then we'll sit there and say, or the mainstream media will say, well, nominal wages, if you look at them, they might not have kept pace with consumer price inflation, but they're really close. So the overall purchasing power for the consumer really hasn't gone down. And there's some years where the nominal wage growth has actually exceeded the CPI, and therefore they're getting rich, right? But this doesn't tell the whole story. This is an incomplete picture, to say the least. So when we look at the wage growth by age, this tells a much, much different story. Look at this green line. This is ages 16 to 24. And you compare that with, let's just say, 25 to 54, which is the orange line. And look, I mean, even prior to the survey sickness, but look at the survey sickness. I mean, the young people, and more power to them, but their incomes just skyrocketed way above the rate of inflation, especially their inflation, because most of them are living at home and a lot of the expenses they have are being covered by the parents, food as an example. So they're able to take all of this additional income and spend it on whatever they want. They can go to take that trip down to Cancun. They can go to Tulum in Mexico. That's a big one for the young people. They can go off to Croatia, or they can go to Greece or Thailand or any of these places that they see on Instagram, all the influencers that they follow. They're always, posting these videos of how amazing it is. Them sitting on the beach, sipping a pina colada, or surfing out in Costa Rica or something like that. And if you're one of these 21, 22-year-olds, you're looking at this and looks good to me. That's the type of life that I want to live. And I've got an extra $2,000 saved up, not just because of the stimmies, but because my job that was paying me $15 an hour is now paying me $25 an hour. So yeah, I feel rich. Let's go to Thailand, right? But you juxtapose that to what's happening with the average, let's just say 41-year-old. And it is true. Their wages have gone up, but their expenses have as well. And unlike the 21-year-old, they have to pay for all their stuff. They're not living at mom's home or in mom's basement, and therefore they have to pay rent. They have to pay for gas. They have to pay for utility. They have to pay for their kids' schooling. They have to pay.
They got to pay for insurance. They got to pay for braces. They got to pay for cuts and bruises and twisted ankles. Whenever you think you crawled ahead a little bit, you're going to get hit with something you didn't expect. And again, the average American can't afford an unexpected expense of $500 without using credit. Right? That hasn't changed. That ain't changed in decades. You know what I mean? And Brother Pitney is dropping the knowledge. Brother Pablo wanted to know what the CLO and CDOs. Definitely look that up, man. Collateralized loan obligations and collateralized debt obligations. You're gonna keep hearing those terms, bro. This is how it's all coming apart at the seams. And the bottom line is the banks can't loan the money needed to do these things at low interest rates. The interest rates are up, and as long as interest rates stay up, these corporations, they're going to be in trouble. They're just going to be in trouble. You know what I mean? Must be all the scammers in all the states up the minimum wages to $25 an hour. And there's another thing too, like here in the US, like just $25 an hour, bro. It's not enough. You know, it's just because of all that free money, all that stimmy money, and it inflated everything. This is why it doesn't matter how much they're paying. It doesn't matter if they're paying you $35,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year. It doesn't matter because you can't buy stuff. right? Because think about it. 10 years ago, you're making $35,000 a year is enough for you to have a, like a studio apartment somewhere in Central Florida like this. Got your regular job making $17 an hour, got your studio apartment or your small condo, right? You can afford the association fees, you can afford the insurance, you can afford your car insurance, you can afford to feed yourself. You still have a little money left over to go out and watch a movie or go have a drink at the bar or something like that. You can do that with $35,000. Now, you can't. Right? Why? Because stuff costs more. You just can't. That's just the bottom line. You just can't do it. Like, yeah, just rub dirt on it. Brother Flo stays in the building. What's good, fam? I mean, it's just one of those things, man. He just can't do it. So even if you bump it up to $25 an hour like they did in California, all that is an excuse to fire these people at the bottom who aren't making any money anyway. There's no way in hell you can afford to live in LA on $25 an hour. Just you can't. You can't. You cannot live in LA for that kind of money. You need hundreds of thousands of dollars to live out there. When I was out there, I left in 2020, right? So people were asking me how much money you need to live out here, household, to be comfortable, to live the same kind of life I'm living right now. Like $300,000. You need $300,000, and that was in 2020. You're probably gonna need $350 now to be able to send your kids to a good school, to live in a good neighborhood, to buy yourself a house. I mean, think about it, the average house in the neighborhoods that we're thinking about, like just a regular North Hollywood, for instance, parts of Van Nuys. You're looking at Studio City, Valley Village. The average house over there's got to be $1 million right now. When I was out there, it was about 700,000, between 650 and 725. Starter house. Right? That's a starter home house. You know, you can get into a condo for less. You're probably looking at about $500,000. Probably get you a decent condo for about 350, 375 and up. Maybe that's putting you closer to the hood. So I mean, it just doesn't matter. We're in a bad position right now. The economy is tanking because of what the politicians are doing, what the central banks are doing. It's just how it is. Brother Mandrill's in the building. My favorite Green Beret. What up, bro? Yes, sir. I'm back. I had to take a little time. I had to take some downtime, man. I had to just had to take some downtime, bro. Y'all know I do that every now and then. So yeah. This number, like, so who was driving the economy? It was the young kids still living at home, right? Not going to school, like they're done with college or whatever. They're making their little money. They don't care how much they're making. You pay them $50,000 a year, they solid. Doing that same time frame. Well, not the exact same time frame, but you look at doing that same time frame, Biden suspended their student loans. So they had even, that's another $300-400 depending on how much they were paying on their student loans that they had. And they were like, hey, I might as well spend this because the president said he's gonna forgive all these loans. So that's even more money. Yeah, let's go to Tulum. Let's go to Bora Bora. Hey, let's go to Milan. They come back home, they ain't worried about nothing. They're living in their room. Mom and daddy's paying for everything. It's crazy.
Pay for health care for their family. They have to pay for all of these things. So they are feeling the pinch, especially at the low end of the economic totem pole. Now, one more thing I want to point out before we get into this article from CNBC that kind of is a grouping, a gathering, an aggregate of what all these CEOs are saying. It's actually a really, really good story. I'm hard on the mainstream media quite often, but this is really some good financial reporting. But before we get over there, let's look at Shadow Stats. Now, most of you know Shadow Stats, but for those of you who don't, this is a fantastic website, but they track inflation using several different methodologies. And one of the methodologies that I really like is they just simply look at the way inflation was measured in the 1970s or 1980, and then they just measure it the exact same way today, and they say, how is it different? So right here with this chart, you can see the red line is what the mainstream media, not just the mainstream media, but what the government, their official numbers are, the headline CPI that we hear year over year. And as most of you know, it's about 3.45%. But if you measured inflation today, the same way that we did in 1980, and we, not just the tinfoil hatters, not just zero hedge, no, not shadow stats, but the government themselves. If you take the exact same way the government measured inflation back in 1980, the inflation rate today would not be at 3.4%. The inflation rate would be, looks like 12%. It would be over 10%, which makes a lot more sense to me. I don't spend much time in the United States, but you guys can tell me in the comments or in the chat, do you think inflation is closer to 3.4% or 10%, 12%? I think,
bro, that right there, that right there. This is why they always change the numbers. This is why when you look at the headline numbers, you gotta wait. You gotta wait till the numbers get revised and you see the true numbers, right? This is why the Danielle DiMartino booth is always out there ringing the bell. Hey, we got a problem. We don't have, unemployment is way higher than what's being reported. Like job losses are way higher than what's being reported, because they'll report the good number and then it'll get revised down. You take that and then you add to it, right? You add to that what he just said. If you use the same formula the government used to use to track inflation back in the 70s, this is where we would be. 10% sounds, yeah, that sounds right to me. 10% sounds right to me, 100% right. It sounds correct. Look at how much you're spending for gas. Look how much you're spending for eggs and milk. Look how much money it costs to go to McDonald's or to what you name the fast food restaurant. Yes, and a lot of Americans are looking at that. Like, this is why Biden and the Biden administration is having so much, such an issue with their message, because Americans are like, you say inflation is 3%, don't believe you. They're like, no. Or they're like, wow, 3% is crazy because I can't afford nothing. It's there it is. It's over 9,000. Brother Penny, you stupid. I need to get that sound bite. It's over 9,000. Flow state. Yeah, as student loan forgiveness happens, the dollar is done. It's not going to happen. I don't think we're going to see any kind of stimulus. That's a stimulus and just in another form. I just think they're at a point now they got to let the pain happen. They got to let the pain happen, bro. I mean, it's just bottom line. They got to let the pain happen. And it's going to take some time. I've been doing, researching what I can on the Depression, the Great Depression, and, how things went down back then. Some similarities, but not the same. What's going on now is way different. But some of the causal factors for the Depression, from what I've been seeing, and I'm no scholar, guys, I'm just looking at stuff. I'm reading old newspaper articles. I'm looking at historical stuff. I'm watching lectures, because you can do all that now, right? We can turn on your TV and watch a lecture from, you name the college, you name the professor. So I'm sitting there looking at stuff. I'm just trying to figure it out on my own, trying to make sense. The administration made some moves that they thought was good for Americans. They were trying to, protect America from what was going on in the rest of the world. And in fact, it hurt America. Right. When you look at what's going on now, it's not the same. It's just all of the stimulus is what's hurting us. Instead of allowing the economy to do what it does, instead of just like, hey, man, this is how capitalism works. If you want to be a capitalist, this is what it looks like. Some people are going to fail. Some people are going to win. But when you start bailing folks out, now you're messing around with stuff, and it's going to have an effect. Right? It's going to have an effect. But I think we're both you look at what was going on in the late 1920s into the 1930s, and look at what's going on now. It's pain. It's just going to be a lot of pain. Now, how much bailing out does the government want to do? How much bailing out can the government do? And every time the government steps in, it's going to affect inflation. And like George Gammon is saying, if you measure inflation the same way they measured it back in the 70s and 80s, we'd be around 10, 12%. That's a huge problem. If that was the narrative, right? If America was told like, hey, this is where we are, our inflation numbers are at this, then the whole country will be taking steps to get that down. Everybody like, okay, let's tighten our belts. But that's not what's going on. What's going on is that we need you guys to go out here and continue to spend. They're telling you, oh, the economy is going great. Look at the economy. Look at our GDP. And then you have people like George Gammon and all those other people that will look at the rest of the world. Everyone else is in recession except for America. How is that possible? Let's look at the numbers again. But when you look at these numbers and like, yeah, our inflation is somewhere, close to 10, 12%. That to me is all right. That sounds right. That makes sense. Now I understand why it costs $35 for me to buy 7 items out the grocery store. Now I understand why it costs so much money to fill up the gas tank. Now I understand why, it costs $20 to go buy 2 meals at McDonald's. Chicken nuggets and 2 cheeseburger meals. Now I understand that. Like $25, okay. Inflation's at 10 to 12%. Okay, that makes sense. But no, people, you got whoever is in the White House or whoever's trying to get into the White House, they don't want to use these numbers. They just don't. They don't want to use these numbers. Like, and as far as the deficit, bro, my God, no one's even. We need a whole nother day to talk about the deficit, brother. Like the deficit is so out of control. I don't know. I'm trying to find somebody who can explain to me how we can even pay that back. How long will it take us to pay that back? You know what I mean? Like and banks, the too big to fail banks won't fail because they're tied into the government. You need the government to fail for those banks to, Chase and, I guess Bank of America, Chase. What's the other one out there? Citi. I mean, they're tied into the government. But these regional banks will fail. You're going to see a lot of regional banks fail. Right. And then and to Cody's point, man, who knows it's going to get a lot worse, bro. This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning. Like, it's the importing of people that do basically slave labor, the lowest tier jobs that normally kids would do for employment experience, except for wages lower than proper compensation. Right. Now it's about having a job. Now it's about, bro. Now you can't just go out as a kid and shovel the snow. It's gonna be a grown up out there shoveling the snow because he gotta feed his family. Same thing with mowing the lawn. It's gonna be grown ups out there doing it because he needs to feed his family. But here's the thing though. A lot of people are like, man, so what's the solution? Saying, I hear you talking all this craziness. I think America's gonna have to endure the pain. There's gonna be some folks who lose a lot of money. There's gonna be some 1%ers who lose some money. There's gonna be some guys who are almost billionaires are gonna get knocked all the way down to their net worth. They might lose a few hundred million. Be some people out there might lose a couple billion. The people at the bottom, I mean, they already hurting, so it doesn't matter. But I think at the end of the day, America is going to recover faster than the rest of the world. Why? Because everyone's tied to America. If America doesn't get up, the rest of the world doesn't get up. Period. And all those people talking about another currency and BRICS, or whatever, the South Africa, man, that they can't even keep the lights on in South Africa for a 24-hour period. How are we going to have a currency tied to that? You look at places in Africa, they can't keep the lights on, bro. You look at what's going on in India, man, it's just too unstable. You look at what's going on in China. What China's going through is way worse than what we're going through right now. So it's just the dollar, y'all. It's going to be the dollar. It's going to be the dollar. Simple as that.
Most of you would say 12%. So now let's go ahead and this kind of frames up the rest of the video and what these CEOs are saying about the U.S. economy. And this helps us come to some, I think, logical conclusions based on probabilities. Again, there's no certainties. And then at the end of this video, what I want to do is give you guys maybe some things that I'm thinking about is how to position my portfolio accordingly. It's one thing to sit there and say, okay, we think the economy is doing this, but then it's a whole other topic of discussion. Say, what do you do about it?
So what do you do about it, brother? Based Oracle, how you doing, man?
Good. How you doing, man?
Welcome. I'm doing all right, man. Sitting here. I actually put on my workout hat, which is a black hat similar to yours, but it's all sweaty. You got like all the chalked up. I'm like, let me go put on my other hat.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So I was catching in and out between. I was more so in the beginning. So when you ask, well, what are you asking specifically? What do we do about it?
Well, we're talking about what's going on. Actually, this is kind of open panel. Like this segment right here, we're looking at George Gammon. He's talking about the economy, and he's like, the major drive to the economy here recently was the 16 to 24 cohort. Those were the kids who had got the money and was out spending and driving the economy. And he's basically saying like, no, you got to look at everyone else. So you had this big old spike with these kids, and then everyone else is down here. Like the economy wasn't doing that great. And then you tie that to what they were saying on Breaking Points, talking about Biden and this race. Like, why are people so down on the current administration? Like, well, because they're not feeling, that they're doing well. Like their money's not going anywhere. They're hurting right now. And then back to George Gammon, he's like the chart he has up now. He's like, if you measure America's inflation the same way we measured inflation back in the 70s and 80s, America's inflation rate will be around 10, 12%. But right now they're telling you it's around 3%.
Yeah. So there's a lot going on. I don't think there's any magic pill answer. And I know that most people, just societally, would like some kind of one size fits all answer. Oh, if we just do this or if I just do that. But I think the parts of the puzzle are, for one, taking personal accountability for your own wealth. Meaning that, for instance, most people just have their money in the bank, or if they have more than that, then maybe they have some stocks or mutual funds, and maybe some others have some crypto, right? What about gold, silver, the standard that's been around as long as history, right? Our dollar bills are, well, as you're saying, right, the inflation has hit to a point where what can you buy for $1 at this point? And we see gold and silver going up again recently. I think silver's over 32 an ounce. And, right, I'd put something up on Twitter about, 4 or 5 quarters, whatever it was minimum wage back 1970 something or whatever. And in today's money, melt value as per silver would be like $27, something like that. And that was the minimum wage, meaning that the minimum wage paid back then, this is how a lot of people get tricked, just in general terms, is they can't figure out the numbers. It's too confusing, what's real inflation, and they want to look to big brother government and take that with more than a grain of salt. Exactly what you're talking about. Well, they're saying it's only 3 to 5%, but we can see how it's probably more like 10 or 12%, whatever the exact numbers are, kind of inconsequential. So my point is, individuals taking back accountability for their savings and not turning a blind eye and being like, wanting to live in this comforting delusion of, well, the best I can do is, put a little bit away in the bank account or a little bit in the 401k, but actually going into diversifying themselves, right? I don't have a map. I'm not a plan. This is not financial education. I'm just saying that this would be a good step, is for individuals to do that. And then in the bigger scale, looking at like the more macro of society, the government, well, look, people vote with their money, right? They do in so many different ways. And I know you and I have talked about that quite a bit. And as far as the nuances, like, well, what about our foreign relations? And, it's very complicated. And admittedly, it is very complicated, like the way that the whole financial structure works. But really, we have been allowing and I suppose helping the federal government, and again, when I say we, I mean society overall, to continue this fiat currency bullshit money. And at some point, there's a lot of speculation that the bubble will pop, And I do believe that. I think it's not even a belief, it's just physics, right? What goes up must come down, equal and opposite reaction to every reaction, this type of mentality. And we've been living in a somewhat padded delusion of the current financial system, because a lot of people don't realize the implications of, well, we are 35 trillion in debt, or whatever exactly it is.
And climbing.
When you do the math, which I don't remember offhand, but when you do the math, well, how much is that per person in the US if we were just to average it out? And it's quite a bit. I don't remember the exact number, but
hey, brother Penny, can you do us a favor, man, and see what the internet's saying about that? Because I know it's just a quick search. How much of the national debt each American owns? I think it's American family. I think they break it down by family, not individuals. But people talk about and here's the thing, and you're right. I agree with you 100%. The thing is, everyone is tied into the dollar, and they're like, we're gonna go with BRICS. Like we're gonna go with that, right? So you think that Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa has the answer? Their currency is going to work? Get out of here. They can't even keep the lights on in those countries, right? So, the dollar ain't going anywhere. People lose faith in it, but what's the only real alternative right now? Maybe Bitcoin? You know what I mean? So,
yeah, crypto, there's different facets, right? Like cash is king, but cash is kind of dwindling out as king. Some places don't even take cash.
Right.
That's a Pandora's box. Gold and silver is considered legal currency, to my knowledge, in a couple states, and it's also very liquid, even outside of being accepted for purchasing power directly. Like you can go to a shop and sell gold or silver in a moment. You can trade it in for cash.
It's just heavy. It's just hard to carry that shit around.
Well, yeah. Well, yes and no, right? 1 ounce of gold, which isn't that heavy, 1 ounce is like $2,400 right now, something like that. So if you think about it, most people probably don't have 1 ounce of gold worth of wealth or savings or whatever. So they're not going to have to worry about being weighed down by that. But yeah, I hear you.
Nah, bro. And everything you're saying makes sense, but it ties back to Americans not being able to think for themselves and not being taught to do it a certain way. I'm always talking about this, man. I take my daughter to school. She learns absolutely nothing. She comes home with the grades or whatever, but it's like, okay, again, name 3 countries, name 2 bodies of water, who was president during the Great Depression in America. And they just, it's just like, deer in the headlights, like what? So people have to take, like you said, responsibility and accountability to not only educate their family, their children, but to educate themselves and prepare for this. But like you said, everyone's tied into, big daddy government is going to take care of us. So let's just sit back and, let it ride.
And I think there's a bigger picture involved in this too. Aside from money, which clearly has importance, is that people in general, when it comes to many things, don't want the truth. The truth is like scary, you're a bad man for saying it, whatever exactly it is. But in many situations, society seems to fall on the favor of, well, just tell me comfortable lies. I'd rather that. Don't give me this black pill. That's kind of how it's phrased when you say anything negative or seemingly negative, regardless of the truth. Whereas I look at it, the more honest you are with yourself and, your life, that, it enables you to self-empower, to course correct when need be. But it's tough for somebody who's ego invested, and I think we all are to different degrees in different ways, but to be ego invested into certain things that you've done since you were a little kid and your parents taught you and this type of thing. And, eventually if you find out that thing or part of it is not true, that's a big slap in the face.
Yeah,
right?
That goes to your religion. Yeah, it goes to your religion and everything else. You know what I mean? Yeah. Brother Pitney, appreciate it, brother. He's like roughly 252,000 per U.S. household, per each household. Think about that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Think about that.
Yeah.
That is a lifetime plus. If every household had to pay that, that's a lifetime plus.
And that's more than most people's houses cost, probably. What's the median house or average house? It's probably
median
under
is up
200.
Nah, I think it's close to. Yeah, I think it's close to 4 now, bro. It got out of control.
Okay.
I think he got. Let me look it up. He got out of control. Oh, hey, Brother Penny might get it to be before me, but I'm looking for it now. But man, you're a former Marine. I'm a paratrooper. We need the truth in order for us to accomplish the mission. We need the truth. So people like us tell us the truth. It's not black pills, not anything. We need to know it. So, like you said, we can course correct. All right. We can figure out our mission to get there, we know the mission, we know the truth, we can set our objectives and we can get there. Americans don't do that. And I think that's the biggest problem. I don't think that they're going to do that. So what am I looking up? I'm looking up
median home cost in the US, something like that, median or mean, which are two different things, but I think they'd probably be equally important.
And that's medium price. The median house price USA. Oh, look at that. Brother Penny, I can't never see. He's the keeper of the knowledge, man. Brother Penny always.
Damn, 412.
There it is, 412,000. Yes. And again, all this is inflated and it's pushed up, but it's nothing substantial there. It's all just numbers. I think that the true number would be somewhere around 250,000. I think that's what the true number would be, but
yes and no. I mean, think about this. If our currency hasn't seen truth yet, right, got to the point of what it's actually worth, then that median house in U.S. fiat currency may be more like $1 million. I mean, add that 250 on, right? How about that? So now it's like 650. You see what I'm saying, kind of?
Yeah, because
there's
it's
no
not
exact
basic
quotient. Yeah.
Right, because it's not tied to anything. It's not tied to anything. We got Flo State in the building. What's good, fam?
What's going on?
What up, Flo?
Chilling. We got Cody as Kings, like kind of like every black guy who said Michelle Obama was hot, needs to come to terms with him being a man. See, why is everybody? Hey, Base, wasn't somebody supposed to send us a video or something that was saying that Michelle said she was a man? I never saw the video.
I don't remember that one. I tell you about P. Diddy's dick in a jar type of thing, that it was apparently found in his little house rummaging escapade by federal agents, and as well as what was it, like gay Biggie and Pac dolls? I don't know if this is all true, but yeah.
Man, ain't none of this shit true, but it sure is funny. I tell you what.
It could be though. But look, the type of dude that did what he did on camera that got put out with Cassie, whatever her name is, right? He's beating the shit out of her. If that's the case, right? I mean, that video seems to be real and true. I don't put anything past him. Certainly not gay sex dolls or whatever.
Epstein had that painting.
What painting?
Clinton in a dress.
Who had that?
Clinton?
Epstein had a painting of Bill Clinton wearing Monica Lewinsky's dress.
Oh, no, man. Oh, man. What's wrong with these folks, bro?
And another one of George Bush, but he's a little kid, George W. Bush, and he's playing airplanes, and I think he's got 2 block towers.
Bro, look, man. Y'all wilding out now. Brother Flo, I know you came up here. I think you wanted to talk about the stuff we were just talking about with the economy, or because we were about to shift into Sean Combs in a minute. No Diddy. But go ahead, and I want to give you the floor.
Well, I guess I didn't hear the last 5 or 10 minutes. I'm sitting outside Taco Bell, and I ordered on the apps, so I had to download all that shit because it's cheaper that way. So I missed the last 10 minutes, so I'm coming in cold.
Fucking Flo.
Hey, inflation, right?
Yeah, inflation, bro. So George Gammon brought up some studies. It's a company out there that tracks American inflation using a formula that they used back in the 70s and 80s. And according to that formula, which was a government formula, America's inflation rate is around 10 to 12%. Using the numbers they use now, they're saying we're around 3%. How do you feel on that?
You just really can't trust any numbers or anything. You just can't trust anything out of the Fed at all, really, or the government agencies. Their job isn't to do what they say the job is. Their job is PR. Their job really is to manage public perception. And so they're always going to be wrong. They're always going to be optimistic. They're always going to, change shit after the fact. And they're always going to be the last one to move on a thing. Like we're going to get, a USDC at some point. It'll be the last crypto in, and it'll just clean up all the issues, however they manifest.
So let me ask you both this question, bro. Where do you think we will be 6 months from now and 1 year from now? Financially. Go ahead, Flo.
I think that the dollar's on its deathbed, but it's going to be a slow death. So I think in 6 months and a year, we'll be worse, but not a ton worse, kind of marginally worse. But I think it'll be kind of a long, slow slog down.
Yeah, I would guess somewhere between where Flo is saying, because I don't think that's a bad theory, and the other end being some kind of catastrophic event, or, I don't mean Great Depression necessarily, but let's say that at worst.
I think it's going to be, 6 months from now and then 12 months from now, America will be like in the grips of one of the worst financial situations it's seen since the Great Depression. I think it'll be worse than the Great Recession, but I don't think it'll be as bad as the Great Depression. So I think it'll fall somewhere in like number 2. The Great Depression being the worst thing that ever happened. And then I think a year from now, we'll be sitting at the number 2 slot, and then it will start to recover. And the only reason I think the dollar is going to recover and everything else is because the entire world is plugged in to this new global economy. If America falls, everyone else is already down. And I think America is going to get up before everyone else, and it's going to be back to business as usual. But a lot of folks are going to get hurt in the process. That's what I think is going to happen.
Well, I think they're going to convert I think that the people who run shit, they're not going to lose power of the currency. The currency is really what makes America turn entirely. But I don't believe that the owners of the Federal Reserve have any loyalty to any country in particular. And if you want to roll out a global digital dollar, I might just see all those things in the making. I think that that's the source of all of the geopolitical issues going on around the world from Ukraine to the immigration stuff to Israel and Gaza. I mean, I think it's all related to setting things up to roll out the next currency.
Base, what's your take on that?
Yeah, as far as the nuance, like, is digital dollar, this type of thing, yeah, maybe. With that said, during what we'd call recession or depression, there are people who get hurt, I think, like you said. No doubt about it. Those least prepared, balance of probabilities, they'll be the most hurt. And those who are best prepared, especially, i.e. inside information, knowledge, involvement in it, will likely prosper from what's going on. Even the stock market, you look at a stock that plummets down to zero, somebody was probably shorting it.
Yeah.
I mean, chances are, and somebody made out really, really well during that decline.
Hell yeah. And that's going to happen again. Like, again, this is what Patrick Bet-David says all the time. It's like when there's blood in the streets, that's an opportunity for you to add a zero to your net wealth. Like you said, if you're prepared for it. Now, can the person who's struggling to keep the lights on, the gas in the car, hide in the car from the repossessed people, are they going to be able to add a zero to their net worth? No, they're not. They don't have anything. But those people towards the top, there's going to be a lot of folks that we might move with now, like in our bubbles. We might be rubbing elbows with guys when this is all over, 18 months from now, 24 months from now. That guy might be worth a couple million, couple $100 million. You know what I mean? Maybe $1 billion. It depends on who has the extra money and who can place it wherever. I don't think the dollar's in trouble. Yeah, and I think it's a lot to what Cody is saying. There is some planning, but I think there's some planning going on with the 1%. Yeah. I think there are people out there who know what they're doing. They're like, okay, we got our cash, we're ready. Let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and crash these, these regional banks. Let's buy these banks up for pennies on a dollar.
Yeah, on the optimistic side, in a way, It doesn't mean that those, let's call them evil, not that everyone who prospers in bad times is evil, but, some clearly, right, government orchestrated that idea. But on an optimistic side, it doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to succeed, right? Sometimes things backfire, don't go as planned, that sort of thing, and we've seen that as well.
We have, with the race wars that they tried to kick off and the insurrection that was a nothing burger and a lot. But I do think that go ahead.
Flo, you deep into that, bro. I'm like, I love it when you talk about that. I'm like, damn, Flo be deep into that shit, man. Go ahead, keep going.
Well, I think that if you understand how the Federal Reserve System is set up, the dollar is constructed to be temporary. And we've inflated it to such a point that it's at the end of its life cycle. Historically, currencies only have about a 250-year tops, which is, that's not right. That's how long the country's been around. Anyways, because it's built on debt, right? The first dollar into the economy is lent to the Treasury at interest. You can't get out of debt to that system mathematically, so you have to keep borrowing more. And at some point, the debt repayments become unsustainable. We're about there.
Yeah. So fractional banking, in a sense, right? I mean that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I just think mechanically the dollar can't be saved. It may be. You can put it on life support, but it can't. I don't think it can be saved.
So even if they manage to stave it off for another 10, 15, 20 years, at some point, it's going to have to be a reset.
When we lose if we lose the central reserve currency status, we're toast. We're going to have all the dollars, because we've been exporting our inflation for decades. All those dollars are going to come home overnight. And we're going to be hurting a lot.
We're going to be wallpapering our house, the walls with paper. Like all fiat currencies wound up on the wall as wallpaper, right? We look at the history, and the thing is, most Americans aren't even familiar with that. So I think we're on the same page pretty much. I think we make it through this round. I think as far as the economy goes, as far as the dollar, I think we're in the 9th round of a 12-round fight. So
that sounds about right.
I think that's where we are. So maybe my grandkids will be dealing with a new type of currency or something like that.
Yeah, I think it'll be our lifetime. But I don't think it's right around the corner unless student loan forgiveness goes through, because that's like half of our balance sheet. Or if green energy takes off in too profound a way, because the dollar's tied to oil. But if those things don't happen, then I think that we've got probably 3 rounds left.
Well, and the other thing is, if you're well diversified, balanced, right? To whatever degree, it doesn't even have to be a lot, but just your savings, i.e., your wealth, is well diversified, not just with cash, not just with U.S. currency, but everything we were talking about. For instance, having some crypto, gold and silver, property, right? Potentially business investment, right? There's other things of value that even if another currency was to take form tomorrow and take over, which I think would be incredibly unlikely, but let's just say it did, you would still be able to trade in, that's what we do, trade in Bitcoin for dollars or dollars for Bitcoin, gold, silver, property, houses, business, right? So if you
just all that debt. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying, if you stow it all in cash investments, in terms of your bank, that's the easiest one. If you keep all your money in the bank, that's, having all your eggs in one basket.
Well, and you're just bleeding out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just bleeding out.
Right. Yeah.
Even if you change the currency to bully, we're going to bullies now. All those transactions, all that debt in dollars has to be settled before you move over to bully. So whatever, however it plays out, it's still, the dollar is still going to be there until all those debts are settled in dollars, and then everyone transfers over to whatever the new one is. Crazy time. So Brother Pitney put in here, like, Diddy was on the video on the office screaming, "I'm a savage, whatever I want, I get." That guy has a dangerous mentality, bro. Let's end on this. Let's take the next 15 minutes and talk about the whole Diddy situation. We got Brother Grios in the building. I see you, fam. What's your take, man?
Yeah, 15 minutes, probably all the air it deserves. My take is he's a great example. And even before this happened, I think there's a lot of evidences that he's a great example, Diddy, of somebody, in this case, a man, using his power for, bad means, right? There's story after story way before this year of him doing some bullshit things with people. So with that said, it's not surprising to me. I'm not like shocked that any of this has come out, or it's not shocking, unfortunately. And how many people in the industry, and when I say people, I mean men, namely, knew about these things, this stuff, and didn't say a fucking word, either because they wanted clout from him, or they didn't want to make an enemy out of him, or they didn't want to rock the boat of, whatever music industry or whatever other industries he's involved in, this type of thing. But essentially what I'm saying is a bunch of cowards along the way helped build Diddy.
Okay. So, man, that's you got me thinking now, bro. And I gotta put this thing, I gotta put it through the old think tank, bro.
Think tank. Arch. Nothing gets past the old think tank. Nothing.
So you're saying if this were going on in the 1950s, now let's take race out of it. Everybody's the same color. If this was going on, just powerful men back in the 1950s, that the men would have stood up and protected the weaker folks? Or are you saying that, or are you saying that that maybe it will play out the same way and just men aren't stepping up, period?
Yeah, I guess I'm just getting at that there are men involved. I don't know if in the 50s or in the 1800s, if it would have been any different. But nonetheless, people have turned the blind eye who have known about this shit. You're going to hear all sorts of people coming out with stories, I'm guessing, how, oh yeah, this one time he told me about this, or I saw that, or whatever, right? Because now they want their clout or their, day to get a voice. But meanwhile, why didn't you do anything about it at the time? And look, I'm not taking any accountability off of him. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just saying that a lot of people went along with it. I don't know if a lot is 100 or 1,000. I have no idea. But a lot of men turned a blind eye and or helped him along the way, knowing what he was doing to some degree to become who he is right now. So none of this is surprising to me. I think it's been in his character all along, and bits and pieces over the years. I'm not a Diddy expert. I didn't care about him, although No Way Out was one of the first CDs I ever bought, right? And that was Puff Daddy, Biggie, whatever. Right? The Bad Boys, this type of thing. And man, I'll tell you what, he's kind of screwed the pooch on all that. It's like, I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this, but it almost seems like he's tainted that album as well as others in a way where, potentially people are like, fuck this shit. And it affects all the other people who are on the album, CDs, whatever. Anyways, that's kind of a minor thing. No, just something that popped in my head.
You're onto something there, though. I mean, it absolutely taints his legacy. I mean, once that video hit, bro, that was it. That was it. It was like, yeah, you can forget about it. He is 100% guilty in the eye of the public court. You know what I mean? Like, he's guilty. Yeah. He ain't bouncing back from that. It shows that old girl wasn't lying. Like, and that, I mean, it's just like, bro, she told that at 100% what happened. Then you look at everything else that was said, it's like, oh shit. You know what I mean? Is she telling? Because the rest of the stuff sounds so unbelievable. People like, nah, it's no way, man. She's exaggerating.
Right.
But now you can see it like, nah, bro, like that's dude. And that business is dirty like that. There are guys who won't stand up because they're dream chasing. And if someone holds your dream, you'll do anything to get it. I saw it in Hollywood. I saw it, in the Midwest dealing with, some of these record labels. When you go to these conferences, to this day, I will never understand how the Me Too movement missed the record business. I don't understand that at all, because I would say that, Sean Combs is an extreme on one end of it, but I think that there's a lot going on in that business where, there's a lot of finessing going on. And, hey, if you want this record deal, I need you to do this or that. just listen to people like Rick Ross was on the Breakfast Club a couple years ago saying how, well, I don't want female rap artists on my album because I'm gonna wind up smashing them. And like he's like making light of it, like, all right, it's gonna mess up my money. If I'm gonna invest $1 million in her record career, she's gonna have to let me hit it a couple times. And he's just being honest. It's just one of those things. So go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, think about the hotel, right? That's the video you're referencing with Cassie, right?
Yes.
So think about that. Apparently, he paid off hotel workers or security or someone $50,000 for that video, which then got surfaced. But this is exactly what I'm talking about. What about that dude or those people, whoever it was exactly, that he made that exchange with, right? For $50,000, they sold part of their soul.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right about that.
And they could say, well, it was just some dumb rapper woman. I don't really know who Casey is, but they could be like, oh, it was just some dumb thought, whatever, and just kind of play it off. But think about this. Is somebody's daughter, right? That type of thing. And if he's willing to do that inside of a hotel lobby or whatever, what do you think else he's willing to do?
Yeah. All the other stories come in real clear, like, yeah, he probably did that. You're looking at the whole thing with allegedly there was a shooting inside of a nightclub. Allegedly, Jennifer Lopez had the weapon in her purse, as was his MO. And then Shine, a rapper who
I know Shine.
wound up taking that case. They say he took that case for X amount of dollars. If you get away with stuff, what do you say?
No, I said he shouldn't have. He
sure shouldn't have. But he went right back in and look at it. Brother Cody is saying a lot of dudes with that small man syndrome become monsters. Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. And you can, when you meet those people, you know who they are. Like, bro, there's certain guys you can make them one of the richest people on the planet, and they don't really change too much from who they are. Then there's other guys that monster does come out. That money brings it out, and you look at what he was doing. I agree with you, bro. There were a lot of people who didn't stand up. Security guys didn't stand up. Now they're coming out trying to make money off of it. But back then, y'all didn't say nothing.
Yeah, double dipping.
Double dipping. Now you got producers. I'm pretty sure they were engineers and producers in the studio listening to him scream at someone and not heard somebody else.
Exactly.
And it's just, it is what it is. It's a horrible thing. How do we fix it? Because I know on your platform we talk about this all the time. So how do we fix this?
Well, again, there's a few different mechanisms that come to mind that we've talked about. For instance, shaming. Right? I think that the people who helped him or covered up or whatever, right? These men who were involved in some way deserve shame, just like he deserves shame. As well as back to the idea of you vote with your spending, with your money, with your attention. And I think that, right, it's not binary. You can't just turn off all attention in the world to him, but on a individual level, right? Don't buy his shit or don't invest in his companies or, right? This is kind of intuitive, yet I guarantee there's people out there who are outraged. They're outraged about Diddy and they're going to keep buying whatever the fuck he's selling.
Yeah, I think he's going to take a huge hit up front, but it's like the R. Kelly thing. I stopped buying the R. Kelly thing when I saw that video. And I remember when that video came out, so we got the VHS version of the video to show you how long ago this was. We take the VHS home, pop it in, and there's all these women on there. You're watching. It's like, man, if that's the girl, I don't know, bro. That she looked grown, Then you see the video, you see the actual girl. It's like, oh no. And from that moment forward, I'm like, I can't buy dude's stuff. But when this music come on, man, I ain't gonna lie, I still be moving to it because guy's a musical genius, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Look, there's lines to everything. Some people take offense at actors that come out and they say some very, might as well have been government who says what they say, right? But they have to interject with their politics, with their whatever. And meanwhile, there's some people who won't watch their movies because of that. They're like, oh, fuck this actor, actress, whoever. And look, that's a stance. I don't think that's wrong. But I'm also not saying to you or anyone, I'm not telling anyone what to do, but I'm not even saying in that vein to you, well, if his song comes on, you got to turn it off. right?
I can do that with Sean Combs because I think his music is trash, but it's just hard for me to do it. It's hard for me to do it with R. Kelly. Like here, remix to Ignition. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I mean, look, that's honest. You know, it is what it is. Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect, no doubt about it. But just at least recognizing these things, I think promoting the truth. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, this is the truth as far as we know, what's come out. And the repercussions, again, of the individuals will be whatever people choose. But right now we see it's trendy to be a piece of shit. It's trendy to be drugged up all the time in different ways, right? And, you know, bucking that trend on an individual basis does have societal effects, right? There's a butterfly effect, just like bad effects, good effects as well.
That's a fact, man. And real quick, brother Cody, I wanted to highlight this, like talking about the Cassie girl, young lady, woman, because she's a mom and all that now. She's the type of girl who hangs with Diddy. She is not innocent. The only pushback I want to give to this brother is this all popped off during the end of the R&B world. Like she's part of that R&B world, which was mega. Yeah. She was, and it was a different type of, and again, sure, at some point she should have been like, all right, this is bad. I gotta, you know, she stood there and took a lot. She saw a lot too.
She has accountability.
She has accountability. But I would say that this particular woman was just in that conveyor belt trying to get the deal. She got the deal. I think it was a 10-record deal, but she got it because he wanted to make her a plaything. And the sad thing is her family. Like when you talk about the R. Kelly thing, you got family. You look at Michael Jackson. You got all these families that are serving up these children to these, you know what I mean, to these artists. And I, you know, we're not talking about that nearly enough. So it is what it is, brother Cody. So I wanted to point that out, brother Cody King. Appreciate that. Mandrell's in the building. My favorite Green Beret. What up, Snake Eater?
What's up, fellas?
Oh man, this is brother Based Oracle. Yeah, this is Based Oracle right here. And this is my brother Flow State, man. Base is a former Marine, so you know how that is. I already told him my joke about the hat.
AKA he's a dickhead. So wait, Flo the only non-military. Kick him off. No.
All right, bye, Flo. You gotta go. No, I'm kidding.
And both of y'all look like jump school cadre or something. I mean, what's with the black hats?
I mean, you know, I'm
never mind. Yeah.
It's my attempt to steal power and blend in.
But Mandrell, let's give Mandrell the floor. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, this one, man, you don't get some things you don't get to come back from, and this is one of them. But he lied about this whole incident the whole time.
Yeah.
Give me 1 minute.
Definitely. Okay. Definitely. And brother Cody, he was like, nah, DL, she was banging escorts and all sorts of other stuff at those famous Diddy parties. He had the freak offs. Again, I'm not trying to, she's not without accountability here. I'm not trying to do that at all. What I am saying is the way she was introduced to Sean Combs was a business thing. She was an R&B singer. He was a mogul, up and coming guy, you know, and it's one of those things. Oh, he can help with your career. But like you said, like Brother Bay said, she sold a bit of her soul. Like, was it worth it? So, you know what? Maybe she got $50 million, but was it worth it? Her children are going to be looking at this. Mama, what's a freak off? You know what I mean? Mama, that man beat you up. What did Papa do about that? You know what I mean? It's was it worth it? And Mandrell will come back when he can, but yeah, brother, like brother Cody, I'm not defending her. I just understand how it could start seemingly normal, like in Hollywood. It seems normal, just coming in for an audition, you just coming in for a table read, and then a couple months down the road, now you're going to the house for the same table read. Hey, ain't nobody around. What's going on? Right? How come this guy walking around, you know what I mean, with his thing swinging and you know what I mean, you wearing a dude, why you got on a house coat with you naked underneath? Like, nah, bro. And you hear these stories about men. Like you hear about Harvey Weinstein, what he was doing with women, but there are the stories y'all haven't heard about the dudes who are trying to use that leverage to get guys. You've heard the rumors about Will Smith. So, you definitely, you selling yourself, man. You selling the part of yourself. So So, brother Flo State, what do you think about this Sean Combs stuff, man?
I think that you don't get to be that famous unless you give up blackmail, and I tend to not buy into the systematic racism narrative, but it does seem to me like you're not going to have I haven't named one black celebrity that's allowed to retire in peace, right? I personally believe that all gangster rap is contrived. I think it started with NWA. It's feeding the prison system, and they're all actors. That's why you have so many deaths and prison sentences where they come out looking different. But yeah, I think the whole thing's staged. I can't prove it. It's just my belief.
Mandrill, you back? Doesn't sound like it. I don't know, bro.
Yeah,
like,
give me
brother,
one more second.
All right, let me know when you're ready. Hey,
All right, I think I'm ready this time. Okay.
All right, go ahead, bro.
Okay, yeah. Some things you don't get to come back from. Like I said, he defamed this woman's character, lied on her. He said this incident did not happen. Now it's on camera happening. Some things you do not get to come back from, and this is one of them. I'm DL, you know me. I'm not for the cancel culture bullshit. I am anti-cancel culture. But this dude needs to be canceled. You don't get to come back from this. Go away forever. You lying piece of shit. And you kicked that woman while she was down. A woman.
Yeah.
I can see if it was self-defense or something. And even then you hold back. You know what I'm saying? You only apply the pressure necessary. You don't hit a woman like that, dude. And then he lied about the whole incident. Where's his character? Oh, that's right. He didn't have any. So he's done. For me, and I have the luxury of having never been a fan of his. So I'm unbiased. I got no dog in the fight. I just don't get this. No man gets to come back from. I don't care if you're a music mogul or the president or a Rockefeller. I don't care. A man does not come back from this. This is not masculine. This is not men. Men don't behave this way. You don't. Where's your integrity? You lie. He has no integrity. Where's your character? You beat a woman like that on camera. And you paid $50,000 to get that video. And you didn't destroy it. So you're dumb.
And he kicks like a bitch.
Right. You didn't destroy it. You're dumb. It's 8 years ago. You got this tape 8 years ago. You had it 8 years. You didn't destroy it. Stop playing. You're dumb.
He was probably jacking off to it.
He's probably, you're right. He's probably jacking off to it. Here's the thing. One of two things happened here. How this tape got out. Either A, someone at that hospital, at that hotel, made a copy and they gave him the principal. And now they sold it to CNN. But here's the thing: the tell is that it's option number 2 is that CNN has it and not TMZ. I know this because I've done this in real life. CNN, you're gonna get way more coverage than you will with TMZ. Okay, CNN and BBC News or Sky News, whichever, those are much larger. TMZ is a large platform, yes, but these two are much larger. Now, the government raided his homes, right? Remember, DL, you and I were talking, I said, yeah, but my question is, my problem with this whole thing, this raid, is that they went in the daytime. The feds do not move. You don't move in the daytime. No mission goes in the daytime. You always move at night, DL. We always did.
What time? You know?
Well, with the feds, it's normally 3 or 4 a.m.
Right. So I mean, yeah.
But this is in the dead of day. So they weren't looking to make an arrest. That's what it told me. They're not looking to make an arrest. They knew where he was, so they moved on all 3 of his properties. And look at what they took: hard drives, thumb drives, computers, servers. They stole data. All that dirt he had on all those people, the federal government now has it. So now everyone's been outed to the feds. Okay, and now the feds found that, and to discredit his character, they leaked it to CNN. Like I said, the tell is that CNN has it and not TMZ. That's your tell.
Let Flo jump in there real quick. Flo, I know you were trying to chip in there a little bit. Go ahead.
No, I was just wondering about being ready to do in the daytime because, you know, they do normally hit in the morning, first thing in the morning. So by the time you've got pictures there of people in cuffs or whatever, it would be daytime.
I think a lot of it has to do
This
with
is in the afternoon, though. This
Well,
is in the afternoon.
It's in the afternoon, and they were hitting 2 locations on opposite sides of the country, so it'd have been
Three.
hard to hit.
3 locations. New
They hit
York,
New York
Los
too?
Angeles, and Miami. Yes.
I knew about Miami and LA. I
They,
didn't know they hit New York.
stole data. And the thing is, look at what they stole. Data. Information. They knew, and the feds don't move on a property. Yeah.
God damn,
My
boy, you
bad.
can't walk no more. Green Beret. You forgot how to walk. But I mean, the whole thing is you coordinating. You want to hit at the same time on either sides of the country. So if you're trying to hit at 3 a.m., that's not going to work. You know what I mean? So I think they went with the best option. Plus,
Why wouldn't it work at 3 a.m.? It would work at 3 a.m.
I mean, you're hitting 3 a.m. So it'd have been 6 a.m. if you do 3 a.m. West Coast.
Well, they're going to be on different time zones no matter what. And
But they like to hit at the same time. They like to hit. They want to kick both doors at the exact same time, irregardless of the right. So,
and that's just as easy to sync at 3 a.m. as it is at 4 p.m.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, yeah, it's just 3 a.m. was 6 a.m. East Coast, 3 a.m. You know, on the West Coast. If you want, I want to go in early at the place I think is going to have the most hazardous for my team. If I really think there's weapons or whatever in one of these homes, that's the home I want to hit at Old Dark 30. I want to make sure I catch them when they sleeping. I want to get in there, hit hard and fast.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think they were really worried about that. It was more of a PR move, and they were just kind of doing their thing. But here's the, you know, you look
It's
at this
publicity.
guy, man.
It's visual. They want to be seen. They did it during the day, so they'd be seen. It sort of goes up to support my little theory.
Yeah. So, but at the end of the day, I think we're all in agreement. Like this guy he's no angel. But to Base's point, how is it that he was able to go this long, all these decades? Is because no one stood up. No one stood up, man, and that's a damn shame. We know that's not the only video footage that he bought. It couldn't have been.
Yeah.
You know, and you watching this woman get beat, like to Mandrell's point, like, I'm sorry, bro. Like, I'm not gonna sit back and watch a woman get beat. Now, I might not jump in it because, you know, I can jump in it and do something to the guy, or he do something to me, and she's still gonna stay with him, but I can report it. You know, let me at least report it, especially if you're in a place like a hotel, a high-end hotel. So I don't know, man. I just go ahead.
Yeah, I agreed with everything that Mandrell said. The only thing I don't necessarily agree with is that he could not come back from this. Now, the thing is, he won't come back from this. I'm sure he won't. But he could, in terms of he could unfuck himself and do some pretty good things with his powers that still be. But he won't do that. I don't think there's any chance of that. But I'm just saying he could redeem himself in different ways, but he's going to choose not to.
Yeah, I mean, I think Templar is right, man. These type people take care of their own. You know what I mean? Shout out to you, Templar. Good to see you, bro. And I'll be showing, and just so people know, like when I go over to Based and Flow State side of the internet, bro, they still be kicking old Uncle Saint in the ass, bro. It's still hands up. Like, come on, y'all. Just trying to come over here, trying to be cool over here. But
friendly sparring.
It is, though. It is friendly sparring.
Well, until you correct your morals, you know, once you get your morals up to snuff and your t-shirt game, then we'll stop picking on you.
No, you won't. You know, see, it don't matter what kind of t-shirt I'm wearing. Wearing the 513.
My morals are out of line with basically.
Exactly, man. But so what's going on? I know you boys gonna be on tonight. So Base, what time you going on tonight?
I actually don't have I'm not going on tonight.
No shit. Oh
yeah.
I was gonna jump over there. Flo, you gonna be on tonight?
Yep.
What time?
Going on. Well, I've got it scheduled for 7, but I've kind of moved things around a bit. So 7 tentatively, like right now, sort of.
Okay.
But
well, I'm
how long you gonna be on for?
I'm wrapping up right now. That's why I'm asking you guys. I'm a mosey on over there. I look forward.
Done that.
Huh? Oh yeah. See, can't get Base. Gotta. Brother Mandrell, you still with us?
Well, I'm gonna jump dropped in. Right. Thanks for having me up. Take it easy. Salute to the chat.
Salute to you, bro. I'll see you soon. Peace. Mandrill, what's going on, man? You done kicked over something. You probably cleaning up. You done spilled the milk or something. You probably getting yelled at. But I'm gonna try to bring Mandrill over into that world with me, bro. I think you would definitely get a kick out of talking to brother Mandrill. Real SF guy, man. He was on the teams, bro. He did some shit. A lot of times I found myself reminding him you can't talk about some of this shit still. Like, yo, you can't talk about that. Whatever you do, don't ask Mandrill about his thoughts on Africa. Whatever you do, don't bring up that continent. All right.
Well, now I'm going to.
That's why I told you. So we'll get him over there, bro. We'll get brother Mandrill over, man. When are you going to be on again? Probably tomorrow?
Yeah. I'll probably put something up for tomorrow. Yeah. All
right. About what time? So I'm trying to let everybody know so they can come join.
Usually it's around this time right now.
All right, cool. So y'all heard it. I'm gonna jump on Flo's tonight, see what's going on with Flow State. Man, brother Based Oracle's gonna be on tomorrow around this time. Lord knows what we're gonna talk about, but it's always good. Brother Mandrill, I'm not sure what Mandrill is gonna do. I'm gonna talk to Mandrill in the back chat because I ain't talked to him in a little bit. Then I'm gonna jump over there with Flo. And for everyone else out there,
sorry.
See, look at all that shit, man.
I don't do a vase, man.
Vase, man.
Yeah,
and the vase.
Yeah, the vase. you know.
I do know. Yeah. So we got to get you to come over to Base Oracle, man. He's gonna be on tomorrow about this time, bro. Check him out. Get over there. Go ahead and subscribe, man. Come over there, bro.
Channel is called Base Oracle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jump on there, bro.
Open panel type stuff, and get into some real talk. So.
It's fucking blood sport over there, man, Joe. It is contact every goddamn way, bro.
You know where I brought you where I came from, man. In YouTube, I'm used to full contact.
Nah, I thought I was until I got over there, bro. It's red smoke every goddamn way, bro. We'll see you, brother Templar.
Over there.
There's red smoke everywhere. Goddamn, we come over.
What you think about? What do you think about what I had to say about the whole situation?
Me?
The Diddy situation, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I was saying I agreed with everything. The only thing I would say is when you mentioned he's not redeemable, I think that he is potentially redeemable. However, he would never dare do those things that it would take to actually redeem himself, like full accountability, doing good things with his powers and monies. Instead, I think he's just going to damage control to the best of his ability, which is pretty much fucked. And suffer whatever wrath of consequences come from society, government, etc.
Yeah, man. Honestly, and here's what I think. I want to add this. I don't think he's the one they're really after. He's connected to someone, a bigger fish that they really want.
That makes sense.
It's the data that they stole from him.
Well, he's definitely gonna tell. If that's the case,
yes,
did he snitch? Did he snitch?
He definitely gonna did shit. He is definitely gonna tell. And that's what Cody was saying.
Tell. Yeah, he's gonna snitch.
He is gonna tell it all.
He ain't built for it. Any man who's that insecure to beat a woman like that, he's going to tell.
Yeah.
100%, man. So I'm about to wrap this up, man. I'm gonna jump on the Flow State, see what they're talking about after I check on my daughter.
Shout out to the Devil Dog, Based Oracle.
Yeah, you too, Mandrill.
Yeah, you say that now. Wait, just wait till he get in there. Wait till that red smoke clears. Like, God damn, that Based Oracle. Nah, that's my home.
Nice. I'm working on being nice.
That's my guy, though. He's one of my favorite Marines out there. I got quite a few. He's worked his way up to the top of the ranks. You guys got anything? Last words you want to say? Any kind of last statements?
One, in terms of the Diddy thing, is I think this is another good example of money will not buy you happiness. If you follow the trail of there's no way on earth, despite all his power and money and everything like that, he is not the type of dude crying himself to sleep. And I mean, he's basically an OnlyFans hoe, the male version, right? So I think that people disillusion with the idea that he's happy and, he's good and he's on top of the world. But even if that was true, he's probably on the bottom of it now. So I think the emotional roller coaster is setting off and he's just facing reality. This is the end of his consequences, or, well, I guess the beginning of, right? But everyone pays for everything eventually. And it looks like his dues are now, they're now due.
Man, that's what's up, man. Fire. Brother Mandrill, what are your final thoughts, bro?
I agree with Base Oracle. And I was telling my wife this one time, I said, listen, one thing about me is I take my medicine. If I'm man enough, I'm a warrior. through and through. It's just, I was born and this is what I am. Hey, I fought, I lost. And eventually I understand that good or bad, the bill always comes due.
Yeah.
You got to pay it. Whether it be a good bill or a bad bill, it always comes due. And he's done a lot of dirt to a lot of people over the years. He's done a lot of dirt to a lot of people. And I agree with Base Oracle. The check's coming now. He's got to pay it.
Got to pay the Yo Butcher bill.
Yeah. And to the economy.
Yeah, that bill's about due as well. Yeah.
Go ahead and start playing taps.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and give that salute to the economy. Bro,
it is what it is. We're going to see how it plays out, man. I appreciate you brothers coming up, man. And I also appreciate you guys, man. Thank you for your service. You young puppies to me. I'm an old man, but I appreciate you young boys towing the line. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Dio. For real. Good to see you back, man.
Yeah, I had to take that week off, man. I'm back. So, hey, guys, this is how we get down. Wednesday, we're going to be doing Wild Wednesday is going to be an open panel. We talk about whatever. Tomorrow, we're going to talk some finance. I'm going to talk some red pill stuff, too, tomorrow a little bit. And then as we get into the summer, Friday is my daughter's last day of school. So after Friday, you're going to see me on a lot, random times. It is what it is. Appreciate y'all rocking out with me. Brother Base Oracle, Brother Mandrell, I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.